You're having trouble defending corner routes in Madden 23. It makes sense, it's something most of us who play online deal with, and there's some explanations for it that we're going to go over in today's video. Firstly, you might just be running a coverage that is not good against these specific routes, especially if it's zone coverage, there's holes all over the place. Now, you may be going into the menu pre-snap and making adjustments, and those adjustments don't seem to be working even though you input the right stuff. That's because there's some issues in the coding of Madden based on a fix a couple years ago that still cause the game to screw up from time to time, or more often than not when it comes to these corner routes. And I'm going to be providing in-depth explanations about a couple of different aspects of the game in zone coverage and in that coding thing. So that'll help you understand defense more, hopefully in general, and be able to play more sound defense, not just stopping these covered or corner routes. Now, if you don't want that, I'm going to add the timestamp for the actual solution here, and you can just skip ahead and look at that. One of the main coverages used to try to defend corner routes is cover 2. And it's not really a good coverage for this because the corners are covering 0 to 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, and you have 2 deep safeties, leaving 2 glaring holes on the sideline as is. So we're going to talk about what you can do instead, but this is not a good solution. Cover 2 is best exemplified in a play like this, where the corners are going to be occupied with the receivers in the flat, allowing for a bigger cushion for the receivers running a corner. And because the safety is the only one covering deep, if I go ahead and put Landry on a streak here, it's going to make it even bigger. So when I snap the ball, X should be wide open over in the corner. Now, this is not a flaw with the game. This is just a flaw with the cover 2 play call and why you shouldn't call cover 2 against something like this without changing some stuff, which we'll talk about soon. I think it's a safe bet to say that cover 3 is probably the most used stock coverage to defend against these corner routes. I only added the zones that mattered here, and you can still see that there's a hole in the coverage. Now, the reason cover 3 is so popular is because you have the safety and the linebacker both playing curl flats here. Unlike cover 2, we expect the safety and the linebacker to get a little bit more depth on the curl flat and maybe cover the corner route. But what you see a lot is the safety still comes up and covers the low route, allowing for the completion to be made the same way on the sideline. The next solution that's going to be proposed is for you to go to the coach adjustments page and change the curl flat zone drop to the yardage in which that outbreaking route is at. Ultimately, I find 2 issues with this. One, something you'll see is that the safety is just late to react and he doesn't turn around and actually cover the route the way he's supposed to. Even if we go and change the zone drop to be a little bit deeper, we're still going to run into the same issues. With the zone drop at 25 yards, the safety still is not in the right position to guard the corner route. Based on my research, the reason for this issue is there are invisible boundaries along the sideline. A few years ago, there was an issue with defenders in coverage that would run out of bounds, come back in and touch the ball, resulting in illegal contact penalties. The way EA decided to fix it was to create these boundaries in which defenders would react a little bit slower going into, so they wouldn't run out of bounds on accident. While the fix works for what it was meant to work for, it creates this issue where these receivers are constantly open on corner routes. The only way to really deal with this is to move your curl flats out wide so they're dropping straight back, instead of dropping back at an angle and taking up more time and having to worry about that boundary. The issue with this is Kamara's route is now going to be wide open right away, and I can just snap it and throw it, and it's going to be easy yardage every single time. With all of that explanation of why certain coverages don't work out of the way, let's get into what does work so you can start shutting down corner routes every time you play them. Everything that you need to change in order to cover these routes properly is in the coach adjustments screen. So what I want you to do is I want you to turn off auto flip. I want you to make the auto alignment into the base formation. Come down to the zone drops and change that to your deeper one, so the 20. For curl flats, put it at about 0 or 5. It depends on what the other person's running. And then for hooks, I leave it at default unless I'm actually adjusting based off of what the other person does when I show them this defense. Making these adjustments, you're going to run a cover 2, and it creates sort of a pseudo cover 4 type look, where your corners are dropping back and playing in that quarter, but they're going to stop at your desired height. And then you can play your nickel and your linebacker in the curl flat, and they're going to cover that 0 to 5 yard range. Say you get everything set up the way that I showed you, it should cover this offense pretty well. The thing about this defense, and something that I feel like I need to add a caveat for, is it's not meant to be a base defense. There are holes in this zone just like anything else, but it can be used to adjust slightly. So say I want to put Kamara on a wheel route, I'm able to then man up Duggar as a little bit of an adjustment to allow me to still run it. But if he changes his offense completely, that is the goal of this defense, is to get them out of the offense that is mainly just throwing corners every time. But I'm sure you want to see it in action, so let's just snap the ball and see what happens. We're going to look to Michael Thomas here, and the corner is in perfect position to make a play on the ball. Now, if you look at the offense that we've been running, there is a little bit of a difference in terms of the depth of the corners on either side, so we'll snap it again, and we'll throw it this time to X on the corner route, and you have Jalen Mills come up and make a play on the ball. This is the perfect defense to stop these corner route spam people, and it can be used as a base defense to some extent, as long as you're willing and comfortable with making adjustments. With these adjustments, you're set to go and stop this stuff right now. So if you feel like you learned something, go ahead and leave a like or subscribe. I really enjoy making these videos, so expect more. That's all I have for you today, guys. Until next time, God bless.